The self-mummified monks of Japan, Sokushinbutsu. Among the most haunting forms of mummification are those of the Sokushinbutsu Buddhist monks in Japan, who intentionally mummified themselves through an excruciating process of self-denial and meditation. Practiced primarily by members of the Shingon sect between the 11th and 19th centuries, this ritual sought enlightenment through the complete transcendence of physical existence. The process began with a 1,000-day regimen of extreme fasting and physical discipline known as Mokuji-kigyo, tree-eating practice. The monks consumed only nuts, roots, and bark, eliminating all fat and moisture from their bodies. They then drank poisonous tea made from the sap of the urushi tree, which killed internal parasites and preserved tissues after death. When ready, the monk would enter a small underground chamber just large enough to sit in a lotus position. There, he would meditate until death, ringing a small bell daily to signal his continued consciousness. When the bell stopped, followers sealed the chamber. After 3 years, the body was exhumed. If it had resisted decay, the monk was declared a true Sokushinbutsu, a living Buddha. Hundreds attempted this practice, only a few succeeded. Their preserved bodies, still in meditative pose, remain enshrined in northern Japan's silent testaments to human endurance and spiritual extremity. The mummies of Guanajuato. In the mid-19th century, the city of Guanajuato, Mexico, became home to one of the most macabre collections of accidental mummies ever discovered. When a cholera outbreak struck in 1833, bodies were buried quickly in above-ground crypts due to fears of contagion. Later, when families failed to pay burial taxes, the graves were opened and the remains were found naturally mummified. The city's unique soil composition and arid climate had desiccated the corpses, preserving their skin, hair, and expressions in remarkable detail. Many appeared frozen in agony, mouths open and limbs contorted, creating a gallery of haunting postures. Over time, local authorities began displaying the bodies to the public, transforming tragedy into curiosity. Today, more than 100 of these naturally mummified remains are exhibited in the Museo de las Momias de Guanajuato, drawing both fascination and unease. The mummy's eerily lifelike features serve as a grim reminder of how death and preservation can intersect by accident rather than design. The Chinchorro mummies of Chile and Peru. Long before the Egyptians perfected embalming, the Chinchorro people of northern Chile and southern Peru were preserving their dead as early as 5000 BCE, making them the world's oldest known mummification culture. Unlike other ancient societies, Chinchorro mummification was not reserved for elites. It was a communal practice, often performed on every member of society, including infants and fetuses. The process was meticulous. The body was carefully disassembled, organs, muscles, and even bones removed before being reconstructed with sticks, clay, reeds, and ash. The skin was replaced or repainted with manganese or ochre pigments, giving the mummies an unnatural black or red hue. The result was a hauntingly stylized figure, part human, part sculpture, preserved for thousands of years in the dry Atacama Desert. Scholars believe the Chinchorro sought to maintain the presence of ancestors among the living, viewing death not as an end, but as continued coexistence. Their mummies, older than Egypt's, reveal an ancient fascination with permanence that transcended social hierarchy. The Capuchin Catacombs of Palermo. Beneath the Sicilian city of Palermo lies a vast network of tunnels containing more than 8,000 mummified bodies, priests, nobles, soldiers, and children, all preserved through a unique combination of natural and artificial methods. The catacombs, maintained by the Capuchin monks from the 16th to early 20th centuries, began as a burial site for friars, but evolved into a public display of mortality. The preservation process involved draining the bodies and placing them in open stone chambers to dehydrate naturally. Later, they were treated with vinegar or embalming fluids and dressed in their finest clothing. Families often visited and redressed their deceased relatives, blurring the line between memory and spectacle. Perhaps the most famous inhabitant is Rosalia Lombardo, a 2-year-old girl who died in 1920. Her preservation is so perfect that she appears to be merely asleep, earning her the title Sleeping Beauty of Palermo. Modern analysis revealed that her embalmer, Alfredo Salafia, used a secret formula combining zinc salts, glycerin, and formalin, achieving a level of preservation that defied decomposition for over a century. The catacombs remain open to visitors, a place where faith, science, and mortality coexist in unsettling harmony. The bog bodies of Northern Europe. Scattered across the wetlands of Denmark, Ireland, and Germany are hundreds of remarkably preserved human remains known as bog bodies. Dating from the Iron Age, these individuals met violent deaths, strangled, stabbed, or bludgeoned, before being buried in peat bogs that would mummify their flesh for over 2 millennia. The acidic, oxygen-poor conditions of the bogs prevented decay while tanning the skin into leathery texture and preserving facial expressions, hair, and even fingerprints. Many appear to have been ritual sacrifices rather than executed criminals. The famous Tolland man found in Denmark in 1950 still wears a noose around his neck. His serene expression remains intact, as if asleep. Analysis of stomach contents revealed meals of porridge and seeds offering glimpses into ancient daily life and death. These bog bodies bridge the gap between archaeology and mystery, their preserved features evoking empathy for lives long extinguished yet strangely present. The Mummies of Venzone, Italy. In the small town of Venzone, the foot of the Italian Alps, a series of unintentional mummifications occurred beginning in the 17th century. When workers reopened tombs beneath the local cathedral in 1647, they discovered bodies that had dried and hardened instead of decaying. The phenomenon was caused by the presence of a rare mold, Hypha tombacina, which absorbed moisture and prevented bacterial decomposition. The mummies, their skin parchment-like, their bodies unnaturally light, became local curiosities. Townspeople displayed them during religious festivals, and visiting scholars studied them for centuries as examples of natural preservation. Though many were destroyed in a 1976 earthquake, a few remain intact, silently resting in the restored cathedral. Their accidental mummification demonstrates how nature, rather than ritual, can create its own eerie form of immortality. The fire mummies of the Philippines, Ibaloy tribe.